Though the USA law tells you that for rape you have got a punishment of life imprisonment, but they say it happened only the first time, he's caught the first time, let him give him a chance, and a punishment of less than 1 year. Even in India, according to the National Crime Bureau report, which had come in the papers in the 1st of December 1992, it said that every 54 minutes, one case of rape is reported in India. Reported, no? Every 26 minutes, one case of molestation. Every 1 hour 43 minutes, one case of dowry death. If you analyze the total number of cases of rape that are taking in a country, it will be every couple of minutes, one case of rape. I am asking a simple question. If you ask every lady to do hijab, will the rape case in USA remain the same? Will it decrease or will it increase? If you apply the hijab for every lady in India, will the rate of rape decrease? Will it remain the same or will it increase? We should understand Islam as a whole. Even suppose after that, even after a lady does hijab, irrespective of lady does hijab or not, a man is commanded he should lower his gaze. And if suppose after that, if a man commits rape in Islam, he receives capital punishment. You call it a barbaric law. I have asked this question to several people. Suppose, I have asked this question to many of the gents. Suppose your sister is raped, and if you are made the judge, leave aside what Islam tells you, leave aside what Indian law tells you, leave aside what American law tells you. If you are made the judge, what punishment will you give to the rapist of a sister? And all have said, death sentence. Few went to the extreme of saying, I'll torture him to death. I want to ask you a question. If you apply the Islamic Sharia law in America, will the rape case decrease? Will it remain the same or will it increase? If you apply the Sharia law in India, will the rape case decrease? Will it remain the same or will it increase? So but natural, let's analyze practically. You say you're giving women right theoretically, but practically you're degrading her to a status of a concubine and a mistress. I'd like to, only on speaking on parda, you can talk for days. Just, I would like to end my answer by giving a small example. Suppose two ladies, two twin sisters who are equally beautiful if they are walking down the street. And if round the corner there is a hooligan who's waiting for a catch, who's waiting to tease a girl. Both twin sisters are walking, both are equally beautiful. One is in the hijab, Islamic hijab, one is wearing a mini or a skirt. Which girl will that hooligan tease? Which girl will he tease? But naturally the one in the short of the mini. If a girl is wearing normal shalwar kameez with the hair open, maybe the shalwar kameez is tight, and the other girl is wearing Islamic hijab, which girl will he tease? But naturally the girl is not in hijab. There's practical proof that hijab is been ordained in Islam not to degrade the woman, but to protect her modesty.
There's an announcement for Aruna Bhurte. Your husband is calling you at the entrance. Mrs. Aruna Bhurte, could you please contact your husband outside the auditorium, please? The next question.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Bilal Lala and I am a revert. By profession, I happen to be a lecturer in computers. There's one question which has baffled me over the years, and that question is, why does Islam permit a Muslim man to marry a woman of his choice from Ahl Kitab, maybe Jews or Christians, and the vice versa is not permitted? Are the Muslim ladies not mushriks? Can you clarify?
So the Bilal has asked the question that Quran permits a Muslim man to marry a lady from the Ahl Kitab, but the vice versa is not true, and is correct. It's mentioned in Surah Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 5, that on this day it has been made lawful for you all that is good and pure. The food of the people of the book has been made lawful for you, and your food has been made lawful to them. And also, besides, the women who are believers, even the women of the Ahl Kitab who are chaste, has been made lawful for you. Islam gives permission for a Muslim man to marry a woman from the Ahl Kitab. Why? Because when a Christian or a Jewish lady, when she marries a Muslim man, after she marries, the family of the husband will not abuse or insult any of her prophets, because in Islam we believe in all the prophets of the Jews and the Christians. What prophets they believe in, we believe in. We both believe in Adam, in Noah, in David, in Musa, in Isa, may peace be upon them all. Because we believe in all of the prophets, the lady, when she enters a Muslim family, she will not be ridiculed. But the vice versa, if a Muslim lady goes to a family of a Christian or a Jew, but natural, they do not believe in Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, and she will be ridiculed. That's why Islam gives permission for a Muslim man to marry a girl from the Ahl Kitab, but the vice versa is not true. Coming to the second part of the question, that aren't these Muslim women mushriks? Brother is referring to an ayat of the Quran Sharif of Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 221, which says that do not marry unbelieving women until they believe. Even a slave woman who's a believer is better than an unbelieving woman, even if she allows you. Means, even if the Queen of England, let her be the wealthiest lady, let the lady be the most beautiful in the world, still a jhadu wali, a slave woman who's a believer, is much better than the best lady of the world if she's an unbeliever. And the verse continues, do not marry your daughters to the unbelieving man until he believes. For a slave man who's a believer is better than an unbeliever, even if he allows you. Now another verse in the Quran tells you, from Surah Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 72, it says, لَقَدْ كَفَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهُ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ, that they are blaspheming, they are doing kufr, those who say Jesus is Christ, the son of Mary. Those who say Allah is Christ, the son of Mary. لَقَدْ كَفَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهُ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ وَقَالَ الْمَسِيحِ, but said Christ, Ya Bani Israel, O children of Israel, Abdullah, worship Allah, Rabbi wa Rabbukum, who's my Lord and your Lord. إِنَّمَا يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ, and anyone who associates, partners with Allah, فَقَدْ حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ الْجَنَّةِ, Allah will make Jannat haram for him. وَمَا وَهُ النَّارِ وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ, and for him, he shall have no helpers, and fire shall be his dwelling place. From this verse you come to know that all those who say Allah is Christ, those who are saying Jesus Christ, may peace be upon him, his God, they are doing kufr. And one verse of the Quran says you are allowed to marry these kafirs. You will think the Quran is contradicting itself, but as I told you, analyze the Quran as a whole. There's one more verse in the Quran, in Surah Imran, chapter number 3, verse number 110, which says, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas, oh ye are the best of people evolved for mankind. Ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar. Evolved for mankind, enjoining what is good and forbidding what is bad. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas, ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah, and believing in Allah. Walau amana ahlul kitab laqad khayran lahum. It would have been better if the people of the book had faith. Minumul mu'minuna wa aktharuhumul fasiqun. Among them there are some who are mu'min. Among the Ahl Kitab there are some who are believers, but the majority are perverted transgressors. So Quran says you are allowed to marry the woman from the Ahl Kitab who do not believe that Jesus Christ, may peace be upon him, is God or son of God, but to believe that Jesus Christ, may peace be upon him, is a messenger of God, and they believe in only one God. Hope that answers the question.
The next question, please.
सलाम अलैकुम, मैं आकिला फातरपेकर हूँ, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र में अंडर सेक्रेटरी। मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि इस्लाम में औरत को, चाहे वो शादीशुदा हो या गैर शादीशुदा,